Precious Metal Summit 2018 here in Zurich. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, again. And with me here is now Fireweed Zinc, and Brandon Macdonald, the CEO, who is the first time at Commodity TV, wants to give us an insight into his terrific company. Brandon, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks to be here.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. Fireweed Zinc, you are working in the Yukon. Maybe you can give us a short overview on the company.
Yeah, so we're a relatively new company. We acquired a project, the core of our project, from Hudbay in 2016. Oh, nice. We launched, we did our IPO in mid-2017, and it's been busy for us since then. So we did a big financing earlier this year, released a new resource, a PEA, and then have been building on that since.
Fantastic. As you named Hudbay already, so this reminds me, I think they still have 12% in the company.
Yeah, so they own 12%, and then Resource Capital Funds out of Colorado owns 13%. They were half of our latest financing, and then management 22%, and then
wow,
it's
that's a lot. It's a big commitment from the management. I like that.
Yeah, you know, and it's I was building a family with my wife. She was 6 months pregnant when we launched Fireweed, and I went all in. So that's I don't know if there's a bigger vote of confidence than that, right? So
that is a real big vote of confidence. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. So let's dive into your lovely projects. I mean, the Yukon is very favorable for mining. We know that. Yeah. Maybe you can give us a bit of an idea of your project. I mean, we talk about zinc is the main metal, of course, but you have lead and silver in addition. So what were the highlights 2018 for you so far?
Yeah, so 2018 kicked off with our new resource statement. So we took the old resource that Hudbay had put out in 2006. We'd added some additional drilling, some reinterpretation, some reanalysis, and we built it up to 11.2 million tons indicated, 39.5 million tons inferred, at about 10% zinc equivalent for both of those. So this is both big and quite a healthy grade. And the grades are such that, you know, as we saw in the PEA, it's about 60% of the economics come from zinc, 30% from lead, and 10% from silver.
No, I would say it's quite healthy. Absolutely. Great. Yeah. And I think you also did a PEA, right?
Yeah.
So can you give us some numbers there?
Yeah.
I think they were quite favorable, right?
Yeah, and so we were looking for three main things from the PEA. You know, with a big base metal project, there's kind of three benchmarks of success for it. So first is a multi-cycle mine life. You want to see a mine life that means that you're not stuck just in one cycle, and you don't have to worry about timing it perfectly. So it came out at 18 years, the mine life. So that's
for initial mine life, that's a lot.
Yeah, so that was very good. And you want to see a after-tax IRR north of 20%. Ours came in at 24%, which is very good.
After tax?
Yeah, after tax.
That's quite high after tax.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you want to see an after-tax NPV more than your capex. And so our capex is about 400 million Canadian, and the after-tax NPV was 450 million. So as a starting point, we think this is pretty fantastic.
Absolutely. And I mean, with Hudbay in the, let's say, share registry, watching what you are doing, so also the 400 million, maybe they are interested to do something then. Later on, when we talk about production.
Yeah, well, I think because this is now such a big project, with Arizona Mining having been bought by South 32, there's not a zinc junior left in the world that has a larger pro rata metal share than we do.
Absolutely. And in one of the best jurisdictions of the world.
Right, exactly. This is you know, you're not trying to develop this in some dodgy you know, country somewhere. This is an established mining friendly jurisdiction with proper rule of law, access to Western ports, etc.
And if we're just talking about it, how is the infrastructure?
Infrastructure in Yukon's good. I mean, you know, for a northern sparsely populated society, it's pretty well served by roads. We're quite lucky that our project, despite being what you look at on a map and you'd think it's quite remote, it actually is served by a road. So this is a road built during the Second World War by actually the American Army, because they were trying to get oil from Northwest Territories to Yukon to building the Alaska Highway, but the road's there, and we're able to bring heavy equipment in now, so that makes a big difference for exploration costs.
And how is it like power? I mean, water shouldn't be a problem, but power, for example, or gas? Are you close to grid power or gas pipelines and stuff like that?
The assumption for the PEA is that 100% of our power would be generated by LNG.
By LNG?
So it would come from, there's LNG plants in the north of British Columbia, so the LNG would be trucked up to site from there.
Fantastic. So we spoke before that interview a bit about the summer program. So what is coming up? What can we expect from you as a news flow?
Yeah, so a little bit's already come out, and one of the things we set out to do this summer is take our PEA, which is a statement to the market about what economics might look like, but it's also a guidebook for management about how do you make this better, right? So where am I gaining money and where am I losing money? So what we decided was let's try to grow the resource, but not cynically. Let's not just target the maximum amount of tons without concern over grade. Let's really focus on the high grade bits. So for example, in September, we hit a step out hole. This was a 50-meter step out, so a GRUA zone, and it hit 16 meters of 21% zinc, 13% lead, and 240 grams silver. So
it's a nice hole, I would say.
That is a very, very nice hole. You know, most companies would dream of holes like that, and that for us was a nice, healthy step out, showing that that particular zone has room for expansion.
And you said it was only 50 meters.
50 meters, yeah.
So it's close to the mineralization you found already.
Yeah.
But it looks like there's room for much more.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Are you planning some more step-out holes then? Let's say another 50, another 100, 200 meters?
Next year. So we've shut down the program for this summer. We had some other good drill results come out already. You know, we're anticipating the last of our drill results in probably the next 2 to 4 weeks, which include additional step outs, some infill in areas that we think the grade was underestimated, which our last news release established that old historical drilling, they had real problems with recovery. So the new drilling showed that actually the grade might be much higher than estimated in certain areas. And then we've got some drilling in an area called the End Zone, which hasn't been drilled since 1980 and is outside the resource. So we're looking forward to that drilling as well.
Yeah, so we would say big news flow and blue sky potential, as we would call it.
Yeah,
right?
well, and plus a 470 square kilometer land package that we think has been incredibly underexplored, and we've started systematically exploring using modern methods.
Okay, to what extent you would explore further and then saying, okay, we move, let's say, in a pre-feasibility, for example?
I think you have to run both in parallel, because if you just turned your back on your exploration and went straight ahead with your feasibility, you might be missing something really obvious that might contribute very meaningfully to your feasibility. So you kind of have to look for the low-hanging fruit in exploration. But then conversely as well, if you focus only on exploration, at some point you kind of have to put your big boy pants on and push it forward and build it and permit it, right?
Absolutely.
So we're trying to do both in parallel.
Fantastic. Can you give us a little bit of maybe a timeline, what your next plans are? Also, let's say 2019, did you move everything forward? We now understood that.
Yeah.
But a timeline where you would say, okay, probably we move to pre-feasibility, then maybe a production decision, maybe with a partner like Hudbay. What would you think might be an estimated timeline? I know it's a forward-looking statement, and we don't want to nail you on that, but just give an idea.
Look, it takes time. We'd expect our pre-feasibility after the drilling next year. We'd expect a pre-feasibility 2020, your full feasibility shortly thereafter that. You're submitting your EA for your environmental assessment shortly after that. It probably takes 2 or 3 years to get your permits. So we're a bit of ways out from breaking ground, but this is entirely standard for jurisdictions like Canada, where your permits they're simple, but they're time consuming.
Of course,
as simple as they ever are.
And you have to do it right.
But once you get it, it doesn't get kicked out from underneath you, right? And that's the important thing.
Exactly. Perfect. Last question: what's money in the bank? Because all those work programs need money. Yeah,
so we're sitting on about $2 million now. So we raised $12.5 million in February, but the vast majority that went into this year's summer program. So the question for us now and looking at the path forward is, do we seek a partnership to help fund it? Do we do an equity raise? Do we sell a royalty? What is the choice? I think that we're quite lucky that having a really good asset that we get a lot of interest from the big players, we can kind of pick our partner.
Fantastic. Great. Well, Brendan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Keep fingers crossed. We look forward to the news flow. And I would say keep the drills turning, because this world needs zinc, lead, and silver, of course.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, there was Brendan Macdonald, the CEO of Fireweed Zinc, and you heard of a fantastic zinc project out in the Yukon. Quite big, $400 million the capex. But this is absolutely manageable, because this is one of the last even projects here, which is a real pure zinc play, I would call it, with approximately 60% coming from zinc. They have already a nice resource on that, and they have also a good PEA on that, and still money in the bank to fulfill this year at least. And I would say with this shareholder structure they have, shouldn't be a problem to really get the rest of the money to get the things done for next year. So check out the company. Thanks for watching us. Bye-bye from Zurich.